Plaintiff Heather Thorson says soon after her 17-year-old son was born, the defendant, his father, disappeared. Heather claims despite the fact that the defendant is a deadbeat dad, her son didn't want his father to go to jail because he wanted a relationship with him. Heather's suing because she claims the defendant is $85,000 behind in child support. Defendant Chad Voss admits that he abandoned his son after he was born, but claims it was because his son was very ill and he didn't know how to handle it. Chad says that he was a deadbeat dad and he deeply regrets not being there for his children, but he's currently making payments toward his back child support.
Tell me what happened.
I met Chad about 18 years ago. We had a child. He was born at 21 weeks of pregnancy. He was 12 ounces and 9 inches long, very sick for 7 months. Chad was in and out of our lives that entire time. We married briefly after that for insurance purposes. Chad didn't stick around very long. He came back, he stole my car and sold like the car seat and everything.
Stole your car?
Mm-hmm. We became divorced. He was quartered to pay child support. In that time, Chad had impregnated another woman, and shortly after that, another one. He was quartered to pay $35 a week. Never did. During the time of when he took the car, he was prosecuted for stealing a credit card or something out of the car. That was a receipt left in there from before we purchased it, so he was charged with credit card fraud. He was put in Huber, where when he was on work release, he took off to another state. We hadn't heard from him for years. At this point, Chad owes me $85,000 in back child support.
Back when we first met, we had issues. Our son was very, very ill. I did leave. And,
Why?
Wasn't in my right frame of mind.
You
was
dope
young.
fiend? You a dope addict, crackhead?
No, sir. No, that I am not.
What was wrong with your mind?
Just a lot of stress of dealing with the sickness of our son.
So you run from it?
And very young, yes. I ran from it.
All right, and let me make an observation about that, because people are confused as to how we have so many single parents raising the children. That's the number one reason, is because the father feels so inept. You're a prime example of someone who ran because you had too much stress that you couldn't handle. But the problem I have with men who run from their responsibilities because of a little stress, obviously the woman can stand up to the stress and she can stand up to all the problems. So you should stay there and fight it out. Yeah. So you ran off and left your family because you couldn't deal with the anger and the stress. And what did that lead to?
Well, part of what started that is I was held in contempt for child support because I wasn't paying while I was still residing in Wisconsin. And as time went by, I had met and got into another relationship. We had moved from where we were at to Indiana, which was a little bit closer. And things were bothering me because I knew that I was always looking over my shoulder. I always had that
looking
thought
over your
in my
shoulder
mind.
For what?
Getting in trouble for not paying child support and being on the run.
That's the only thing bothered you about this situation?
No, not the only thing.
If Heather Thorson has a 17-year-old son with the defendant, and she claims he abandoned their son after he was born and is currently $85,000 behind in child support.
Is this the son?
Can I say something?
Is this the son that you're talking about?
Yes, it is.
What did you want to say, ma'am?
Before Chad left from Huber, he made 3 other kids in Milwaukee. So he wasn't not only, he's in $165,000 in arrears just in Wisconsin. And he's been gone this entire time. So I proceeded to try and find Chad throughout the years because my son does have some medical issues that were pretty pertinent due to his early birth. Finally, Chad was arrested and charged with 7 counts of failure to support a child and executed back to Wisconsin.
They executed him. Well, he came back to life.
Or that's what they
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead. Did you say he was executed?
Yeah, I did. That's what I was hoping, but no, it didn't happen.
Go ahead.
So he was brought back to jail. We got word. My son didn't want to see him at that time. But my son was obviously excited to get to know who his father was.
Sure. How much time did he get? That's what I'm interested in.
I stood up in court per my son's request and asked them not to put him in jail because he has not just the 4 kids in Wisconsin, but he has others. So I didn't want the kids to have to go through that. That wouldn't be fair to any of them. So, and it wasn't going to help me get the money. And, you know, when Brandon was growing up, it wasn't about the money. It was more about his health. But now it's kind of about the money because he's growing up and he wants to go to college. He's getting ready to join the military. He's in Civil Air Patrol. And since
It says a lot about you, young man. You've overcome some tremendous obstacles. That says a lot about you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And we were hoping for the best. You know, when Chad came back, we were hoping for a little bit different. And it was let down
What
after
else do you
letdown.
want to say, sir?
I do feel horrible for what I did. And I'm glad that I'm able to try to have the second chance. I've still made some mistakes.
Are you paying child support
Yes,
now?
sir, I am paying
Okay.
child support. I love him to death. I missed a very important situation with my son in June because I could not take off work.
You want to talk?
Yes. He hasn't really, he's tried, but not his best. And he's tried, but he's let me down time after time, breaks promises. Yeah, he's putting his girlfriends before me, he's promised me cars, and I'm just really hurt.
Young man, I'm so proud that you were able to overcome this and you're able to obtain some success. Continue with your success and use this as a sense of inspiration, all right? That's what I did. My dad wasn't part of my life either. I really didn't spend any more than about 30 days with him in my entire life. But quite frankly, that inspired me to kind of want to show him. And sure enough, oddly enough, I'm told that when he was on his deathbed, that he saw where I was elected judge, the youngest judge elected in the history of the state.
That's awesome.
Got me? And he gonna be bragging on you then.
Oh, that's my son.
Whatever it is,
That's my son.
that's my son. Somebody gonna say, shut up, you done had nothing to do with it. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day.
I want to apologize to both of you. I feel so bad, and I want to move forward. Sorry, I love you. I love you too.
We tried to reach out to Heather Thorson, Brandon Voss, and Chad Voss, but were unable to get a hold of them. So if you're watching, please give us a call.